Yep, there is a true tale behind the insane Netflix animated series. The King of Rock and Roll, as voiced by Matthew McConaughey, is a gun-wielding, karate-kicking secret agent with a chimp sidekick in Netflix's animated comedy series Agent Elvis. Although it all seems absurd, the majority of this notion is inspired by real events. Want to know more? Then join us in this video as we tell the true story behind Agent Elvis and learn more about these said events. We'll see how the outrageousness and eccentricity of Elvis' life lends itself well to this just somewhat far-fetched comedy, as we delve into the genuine facts and details behind these anecdotes. Elvis met with President Richard Nixon and requested an official badge from the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. At their encounter, he informed Nixon that he had been researching the perils of illegal substance culture and communism, and wanted to help his country in combating these scourges. Presley was also a dedicated karate student and instructor, reaching the rank of 8th degree black belt in 1974. And he did in fact have a pet chimp called Scatter that terrorized Elvis's family and friends. But those are just the Cliff's Notes version of the story, so let's delve a bit deeper into each of those. Elvis asked Richard Nixon to make him a federal agent. Elvis Presley visited President Richard Nixon in the Oval Office on December 21, 1970. Despite his significant prescription substance addiction, Elvis was determined to battle said substance culture, apparently just illegal ones, and wanted Nixon to issue him a badge from the Federal Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. "I can and will do more good if I were made a federal agent at large. I have done an in-depth study of substance abuse and communist brainwashing techniques," Elvis stated in his letter to the president. The handwriting was hardly discernible, a spidery scribble on American Airlines letterhead and 30,000 feet above by a man with an extraordinary request. It was the kind of letter, 5 pages long, full of underlinings, misplaced capital letters, and outlandish political beliefs, that you'd expect to find in a Washington wastepaper bin. When Presley landed in Washington in the early hours of December 21, he went directly to the White House and handed it in at the gate. Nixon's aides were quickly debating what to do about it. The president, who was strict and always on the lookout for a rat, was nervous about seeing the singer. But one of his senior assistants, Egil Bud Krogh, later imprisoned as a Watergate conspirator, was a Presley enthusiast who recognized the immense PR potential of bringing the singer on board. It resulted in one of the most bizarre White House interactions ever, an improbable meeting of counterculture star and right-wing bogeyman that both sides naturally tried to keep hidden. According to the media, Elvis said that the Beatles were a significant cause for anti-American sentiment. He claimed that the Beatles came to America, made money, and then returned to England to preach an anti-American agenda. Despite early reluctance, Nixon consented to meet with Presley, and during their half-hour conversation, they expressed their common distaste for 1960s counterculture. When Elvis asked for his federal agent badge, Nixon surprised him by giving him one. The president and the king of rock and roll embraced and said their goodbyes. As far as we know, Presley did not go on any secret missions to bring down kingpins or communist dictators like Jack Ryan, but his meeting with Nixon was unusual and memorable enough to inspire the plot of Agent Elvis. Elvis was a karate master. When Elvis was drafted into the army in the late 1950s, he was stationed in Germany, where he met a karate instructor who exposed him to the martial arts for the first time. Elvis Presley was a karate student who learned under the great Sensei Oyama. Elvis trained often in Germany, and did so for many years. He obtained a black belt when he returned to Los Angeles in 1960. Thereafter, he resumed his training in Memphis, where he was promoted to 7th degree black belt in 1973. Elvis was so dedicated to karate that he eventually became an instructor. Several of his students were intimidated by him, but he quickly put them at ease. When a young child acknowledged he was afraid of the king, Presley gave him an engraved watch. Elvis's karate talents were put to the test on multiple occasions, both inside and outside of the ring. During a concert in Las Vegas, Elvis was challenged to a fight by a member of the audience. Elvis destroyed his opponent fast, with a barrage of karate strikes. Elvis's skill of karate was not only for show. He was a firm believer in the martial arts' power. "I think that karate is a great way of self-defense, not only for me, but for anyone," he previously stated. "It's not a killer art, but it's an art of self-defense, and I think that's important." Elvis rose to the level of 8th degree black belt in 1974. Elvis's health deteriorated in the years before his death in 1977, and he was no longer as dedicated a student. Yet, his dedication to the martial arts discipline won him a position in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. As far as we know, Elvis never had to employ his martial arts abilities outside of the classroom to battle evildoers, but the infamous 18 minutes of lost audio tapes from Nixon's White House may have shown otherwise. Elvis had a pet chimp named Scatter. Scatter the chimp used to be an actor who featured on a local Memphis TV station in roles ranging from businessman to baseball player. Scatter's owner eventually chose to sell him to the king of rock and roll, presumably deciding that Graceland would be a wonderful home for the adored chimp. Scatter moved into the king's residence, once Elvis accepted. Unsurprisingly, the presence of a chimp within Elvis's home did not go so well. Scatter liked hiding in restrooms and sprinting out to frighten anybody who came in. He also ripped up costly drapes, threw stuff, and bit people on occasion. He allegedly enjoyed beer and whiskey, which may explain the biting. Scatter appeared when Elvis traveled to Hollywood to focus on his film career. The chimp lived in the fast lane, until he fled from a mansion in Bel Air multiple times. Scatter was brought back to Graceland when the neighbors complained, where he eventually passed away, hopefully from natural causes. According to rumors, Scatter was laid to rest close to his beloved owner, the king of rock and roll, in the Graceland backyard. While Scatter is portrayed in Agent Elvis as a talking chimp with a gun, there is no proof that the monkey actually talked or fired at anyone. It's probably for the best that Scatter couldn't express himself verbally or learn the use of weaponry. Who knew that Agent Elvis was inspired by actual events that revolved around the king himself? It's quite interesting, don't you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for